Well, it is the time of year to stay sharp, stay fit, and you never know, impress a coach or two. Welcome back to the Walt Disney Pro Soccer Classic here from Orlando, Florida, and the ESPN Worldwide of Sports Complex. The second game is Montreal Impact against Sporting Kansas City, an all-MLS affair once again. Callum Williams here alongside Jason Sagini for your commentary team. All sorts of names branded around and just about how this Montreal Impact side are going to start, Jason. We're still trying to figure it out ourselves, really, aren't we?
Yeah, they have a lot of interchangeable players, but it looks like we've figured out Nesta and Ferrari at center back in front of Troy Perkins. Iapicino and Valentin are the outside backs. Hassoun Kamara he played a lot of center back last year. He'll move into the midfield, though. He's got Niasi and Arnaud on the wings. Up top is DeVayo and, of course, Felipe, one of the most talented players we saw enter MLS last year.
And of course, for Sporting KC, a few new faces in their lineup as well, noticeably Benny Feilhaber in the middle, of course, arriving from New England Revolution in the off-season, and the new designated player, Claudio Biela, the Ecuadorian centre-forward. Right back as well, Jerome Meshak, who's a guest trialist from Orlando City, of course, after the new partnership between the two clubs and the partnership between Major League Soccer and USL Pro. Here comes Sporting with the ball now. Meshak.
Callum, I went through the lineup so fast I left out Patrice Bernier, so he's also in the middle next to Kamara with Felipe.
Here's Sinovic, looking for Feilhaber. Touch will let Feilhaber down, the pass from Sinovic. He's perhaps not his best. There's Valentin. Only Chivas USA, of course. Coaching staff of Montreal Impact and the players casting their eyes over the proceedings in the opening 2.5 minutes. Free kick in the way of Montreal Impact. 0-0 in the opening 2 minutes. Here's Alessandro Nesta, legend in the world of Serie A, of course, with Lazio and AC Milan. Said he was surprised by the quality of Major League Soccer when he first arrived, and that is a good thing to note, Jason. He was very surprised with the quality of MLS, thought himself, and I quote, he said he was here to play easy football. Not the case.
I think you hear that a lot from guys who come in internationally and don't realize it. I mean, the reputation for MLS is getting better. I hear a lot from people that on the international level, sometimes people think highlier of MLS than they do in the U.S., some, soccer snobs, so to speak. But, every time a player like that comes in and realizes they're not going to be here on vacation, I think it bodes well, and they spread the word when it comes to that international market.
Here's Nesta once again. Valentin. Closed down by Bobby Convey. Colin with a powerful header away from DeVayo. Referee blows up. That'll be a free kick taken quickly. Graham Zusi, of course, on the ball then. First piece of pre-season action after being involved with the US men's national team. Speaking of the national team, here's another. Matt Beasler. Saw game time against Canada, of course, in that friendly down in Houston. Biela trying to get in behind Alessandro Nesta there. Smashed away by Troy Perkins, the experienced MLS goalkeeper. Nesta again. Bernier scored 2 goals against Kansas City last season in Major League Soccer. Here's Feilhaber. Nesta once again.
I think Matt Beasler is playing center forward right now. I'm not sure how he ended up there.
Nosebleed territory for a centre half. Here's Jimmy Nilsson. Aurelian Collin, approaching his 3rd year in Major League Soccer. Meshak. Graham Zusi topped the assist charts last year in Major League Soccer. Much is expected of him once again this year. Here's Sinovic. Uriel Rosell, another player who has much on his shoulders this year after the departure of Julio Cesar. It has been mentioned by 1 or 2 people that Uri Rosell will perhaps be the most natural replacement for Julio Cesar.
Much younger replacement, but a guy who has a lot of potential, and we saw little flashes of it last year in Kansas City, and the question will be, will it be consistent? Can he put in those consistent performances throughout the course of the season?
Let me ask you, Jason, what do you make of the fact that Benny Feilhaber and Graham Zusi aren't playing together in the midfield? Because when I saw the signing of Feilhaber, I did think to myself, surely he'll play alongside Zusi in the middle.
It's interesting. For me, I'm wondering what happens with the front line. Do they see Zusi as one of the three on the front line, or is he a midfielder and the attacking guy?
Speaking of Zusi, there's an effort from the American international.
And I think as they figure it out and you work out the pieces and you figure out, is Bobby Convey, is Bieler starting with CJ Sapong? And if they're both starting, is Convey on the field, or do you want to get Zusi onto that front line? I think they can coexist in the middle of the field, but for me, it's a question. I mean, a lot of people point to Graham Zusi as being better out on the right and kind of playing that wing position. So who's the odd man left out when you add up all the pieces? I got to imagine CJ Sapong's on the field, so is it maybe Bobby Convey that finds himself on the bench?
Because it was reported, and I say reported in inverted commas here, Jason, that Jurgen Klinsmann said he saw Graham Zusi as a wide player, and all of a sudden he's playing out wide, not only for Sporting, but for the national team as well. So perhaps something we'll see in the future much more. Yeah,
I mean, we've seen him be successful from out there. He has the qualities that can do it. I mean, for me, I think he's good enough that he can play either, but it's a matter for Peter Vermees of saying, when I need to put out my best 11 and I have everything available, who is that? And sometimes it's not always the best players, because sometimes the combination of certain players just doesn't work. So it might not be the best 11 players.
Here's Marco Di Vaio, the Italian. Real chance for Montreal. Towards the edge of the, let's see where the ball goes, and the touch from the Brazilian Felipe was poor. You'd expect better of him.
Looked like he was a little wrong-footed on that.
Biela, the new DP for Sporting. The fourth in the history of the club. Zusi. Just a little too delicate, the ball over the top, aimed for Bobby Convey. And again, we start again with Montreal Impact 0-0 after the opening 6 minutes here in Orlando, Florida.
In reality, when you look at the season that Sporting has in front of them and the amount of games they're going to play, you almost need two guys at every position. So, if Zusi is out, having Fehlhaber to come in there for him is obviously as good of a replacement as you're going to pull off your bench as you could. So whether, again, figuring out their lineup is going to be fun. It's going to be challenging, especially for Peter Vermees, who's got to deal with egos, and somebody's going to be sitting on the bench who doesn't think they should be.
Here's Aurelian Collin. And Zusi once again for Sporting KC. Rosell, the Spaniard. Came to the Barcelona Youth Academy for a long time. Was highly thought of by the coaches there. Here it is again. Of course, the partnership between Peter Vermees and now Barcelona head coach Tito Vilanova was the reason why Rosell ended up in Kansas City. Collin. Direct ball over the top. Valentin should deal with this relatively easily. Convey keeping up the pressure though for Sporting. Montreal Impact, of course, taking part in their first year in Major League Soccer last year. Unfortunate, in my opinion, to just miss out on the playoffs. You'd expect much more of them this year. Perhaps a stern playoff challenge this year, Jason.
Yeah, I think so. When you look at, they had a lot of pieces come in the middle of the season. It took a little while to get it all sorted out.
Shot is charged down well, and now this will be Davy Arnaud. For many in Kansas City, still very strange to see him in a different jersey.
I mean, you have to figure the time together for these Impact guys now, getting a full preseason with them all. And we saw how good Felipe was last year. You have to think that they're going to be a danger in the East.
Convey. Well read by Alessandro Nesta. Felipe. Arnaud. Impact doing well to keep the ball at this precise moment. Camera. Sledding challenge over the far side. Here come the Impact once again down the left-hand side now. Early ball played in, looking for Di Vaio. First touch let him down, but he was adjudged to have done something wrong. The referee blowing the whistle straight away. Handball is the verdict.
Di Vaio tried to scoop it up a little clever, but didn't get past the referee.
Rosell. Paulo Nagamura What a season he had with Sporting KC last year once he got going. Biesler. Setsanovic. Lovely back heel from Feilhaber. Convey. Biela's touch was poor. I'm sure the pressure from Matteo Ferrari may have put him off. The Italian doing his job there.
It's great combination play by Sporting Kansas City, and for me, the one thing that I watch with Bobby Convey playing out left is he's going to end up on his right foot a lot, and to me, he just doesn't play the ball enough with his right foot. He doesn't want to play the ball with his right foot. But if you're going to end up in that position, playing out there.
Strong challenge there from Setsanovic on his former teammate Daviano. Referee having a quiet word with Setsanovic.
I mean, if you're to finish that thought, if you're going to be playing out there on the left side and you're going to be cutting in as much as they do when they combine, you've got to have a go with your right foot. And you know, I remember one chance he had in Arizona that he skied, but at least he took it. You know, be a threat with your right foot as well.
The referee pointing the whistle in favour of Montreal Impact. They can put a body or two forward here. Free kick to be taken on that left-hand side then. Nesta. Biela floating handsomely in the centre circle for the time being for Sporting. Sporting will regain possession. From, in my opinion there, Jason, with all due respect, it was almost a pre-season pass there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess you're going to see some of that.
Ferrari. Impact looking to push themselves forward here. Vaio dropping deep. Pass inside was a good idea, but the pass didn't find the intended target in the end. Here's Nagamura. Michak overlapping here, looking to perhaps make a name for himself in Kansas City. Of course, at the moment contracted to Orlando City of USL Pro, but because of the new partnership between Orlando City and Sporting KC, he's got a look in here. Mayasi, with pace to burn. It's well read and well stepped up by Matt Biesler. Felipe now for the Impact. There are options on the edge of the penalty area. He'll go back and Montreal Impact will keep the ball. Ferrari. Well, it looked inviting for the first few seconds, and it skips off the surface, and that'll be a goal kick to Sporting. Here is Matt Biesler. One of the most consistent centre-backs in the best defence in the league last year for Sporting. Here he is again. No foul as well. Now perhaps Sporting can break here. Nagamura. Graham Zusi for Sporting KC. Ball goes towards that back post. Skips off the surface again. Away from both Biela and Convey. And now it's a goal kick to Montreal Impact.
Zusi getting under that, not the cross that he wanted, but you see the ability for Sporting Kansas City to break out and connect passes very quickly in the attack. You think that Biela is going to be one of the guys who's going to get on the end of a lot of that. Interestingly, him playing as this target guy, not that big, you know, wide body, but not that big in terms of, you know, height. So how does he deal with the Jamison Olaves and the Chad Marshalls when he gets in there? That'll be an interesting storyline to watch this year.
Here's Camara. Michak. Zusi now causing problems for the Impact, but it's well won back, and they push themselves forward now down the left-hand side. Michak involved with a challenge. And again, the Impact remain in possession. 0-0, just short of 14 minutes here in Orlando, Florida. The Impact will push forward and try to box Sporting in here. Pass is poor, and Sporting will look to take advantage of that. Here they come, Feilhaber. It's Sanovic on the left-hand side. Rosell. Tracked and charged down there by centre midfielder Bernier. Beasler looking for a pass here. Find one in the shape of Feilhaber. Of course, two players who should be used to each other after training alongside each other in the US men's national team training camp in January. Nagamura. Sporting looking to get into their groove here as they push forward. Again, it's Mechak. Well dealt with by Alessandro Nesta, who perhaps may have lost a yard or two with pace, Jason, but he's always very good at reading situations.
I mean, we've seen defenders in this league make it with, you know, the cerebral nature where you maybe don't have all of that athleticism there. But if you can think the game faster than the opponent, you're going to put yourself in the right spots, and you don't need to outrun them. So Nesta is probably going to be a good example of that. We'll see. I mean, for me, the question, can he stay healthy throughout the course of an entire MLS season?
Susi. Valentine heads away. And again, it's in the midfield for Bernier. Only for a moment, though. Sanovic. Told to play easy by Peter Vermees. Apologies if you do hear Peter Vermees. He's right above Jason tonight. So I'm sure you'll hear some rather interesting words from time to time. So advanced apologies here on MLSsoccer.com. Here's Convey. Beasler. Passes ball from Beasler. He knows it as well. Valentine will take this throw for the impact. Staviano makes his way forward as well. Nesta did well to deal with that.
You see how comfortable on the ball Nesta is, even under pressure.
Here's Ferrari. He, of course, was at the peak of his powers in the Champions League with the likes of AS Roma. Ferrari once again. Here come the impact. Excellent, sturdy challenge from Aurelian Collin, who keeps the ball in play as well.
Trying to take advantage of some of that speed that Niasi brings out on the wing, but unable to connect.
Rosell. Sanovic pushing forward to offer an option. Sporting KC have been told to push as high as they can up the field at the moment. Here's Zusi. Has a go from range here. Oh, goodness! Well, that is why he is, even in pre-season, perhaps at the peak of his powers there. What a goal, 1-0 Kansas City.
Unbelievable strike by Graham Zusi. Reminds you of that goal he scored against FC Dallas, a bomb from distance, giving the goalkeeper no chance. Troy Perkins waved at it, but Zusi just hits the heck out of that ball, and it's not only is it hit hard, but it moves as it comes towards you as a goalkeeper, making it very difficult. You can't give him that much time in the midfield.
Last year, of course, was his best goal-scoring season in Major League Soccer, as well as his assists record as well. Doesn't matter where Graham Zusi plays, it seems he can be effective out wide or in the middle. Here's Convey now. Feilhaber. Zell spreading the play to Meshak on the right-hand side. Nagamura. Sanovic. Jerome Meshak. Good combination on the right-hand side. Here's another chance for Sporting. Decent ball played in, acrobatically cleared away by Ferrari. Sporting in control for the time being as they lead Montreal Impact by 1-0, of course. And it was the goal from Graham Zusi that gives them that lead, Jason.
Phenomenal strike by Zusi. We've seen him do it before. I'm sure U.S. national team fans want to see him do it in the red, white, and blue as well.
Get the feeling this year he may just get that chance on a couple of occasions. Here's Nesta. 37 years of age now, Alessandro Nesta. Fail Harbour causing problems, as well as Biela. Convey. And the pass is poor from Convey. Ferrari. Bernier.
Go ahead, Bobby. You got it. You're good. Go ahead, Ben. There you go. Slide and tuck in.
Ferrari. Just short of 30 appearances last year for Montreal Impact in Major League Soccer. His first year in the league. Here's Jimmy Nielsen. Yet to be tested by Montreal Impact, Nielsen. Senovic. Instantly charged down by Daviano. Lovely touch from Fail Harbour. Chested down. That'll be easy for the Impact. Camera. Lovely turn away from Fail Harbour, wasn't it? Oh no. Late challenge there from Bobby Convey. Former teammates with the US men's national team, of course. Convey very apologetic. That'll be a free kick to the Impact.
If this wasn't a preseason game, he would have gotten a card, and I'm not sure it would have been yellow. It was late, and he went right through the man on the tackle. Arno, though, looks to be okay. They'll restart the play, and Zarek Valentin moves it along.
And, of course, the referee in the middle, Silvio Petrescu, the referee of the year in Major League Soccer, of course. Valentine. DeVio. Skipping away from Senovic. Camera with a long ball over the top. It was a good idea, but they are the offside on the far side. That'll be a free kick to Sporting.
Montreal, though, getting a little hold of the ball in the last couple minutes where they hadn't had it earlier. It's been a lot of Sporting Kansas City so far. Montreal sitting back.
Don't forget, if you do want to ask a question or tweet to us, it is at Jason Sagini and at Cal Williams SKC. We'll do our best to answer as many questions as we possibly can.
Got a question, is Jimmy Nielsen the best goalkeeper in MLS, Cal? You might be a little biased, I don't know.
It's an interesting one. It really is, because I'm a very big fan of a lot of goalkeepers in Major League Soccer. I'm a big fan of Tally Hall at Houston Dynamo.
Yep.
I think for me, one of the next big American goalkeepers to come through. I'm a big fan of Sean Johnson and Bill Hamid. I think they have big futures ahead of them as well. But for a goalkeeper right now, I think it has to be between him and Michael Sperning at Seattle, in my opinion.
I'd throw Nick Raimondo into the mix.
Absolutely.
I think with Nick Raimondo, you get more in certain areas and less in certain areas. I mean, he's not bad in the air, but obviously his size from time to time could hurt him. He covers a ton of ground, though. Great with his feet. But yeah, I mean, I think those three, when you include in Sperning, for me, are the tops. Hard to pull difference between each guy.
Absolutely.
You know?
And statistically as well, it was proven last year. Mm-hmm. So this will be a free kick to Montreal Impact then, and a chance perhaps for them to put a few bodies in towards the mix-up. Alessandro Nesta comes forward. Doesn't go all the way forward though, which would suggest they're going to play it short, and they do. Perhaps Coach Shalaban wants them to play the ball on the ground. No need to play it long in pre-season. Camera. Now Valentine again pushing forward for the Impact. Perhaps a chance here. Slips it through. Felipe and DeVio. Tight angle here for the Italian. Thwarted by the sliding challenge of Aurelian Collin. And now we have a corner.
A great ball by Zarek Valentin to really set that up. And it looked like Felipe had an idea of what to do with the ball, and DeVio took it right off his foot trying to turn towards goal. But again, Montreal a lot better in the attack in the last 5 or so minutes since the Zuzi goal.
So the first real chance here then this game for Montreal Impact. Patrice Bernier stands over the ball.
Not a very big team, the Impact, when you look at who they have out there in the box. Kamara, probably their biggest target, but interestingly, Nesta, you talk about, a guy getting up there in age. He's not running up into the box to get on the end of this header. He's sitting back as the last man.
Bernier. Decent looking ball in. It was nodded away by Aurelian Collin. Now the Impact perhaps have a second chance here. Ball in from the left-hand side. The heads go up and Sinovic is there on the cover. Challenging was Camara as well. Well worked out by Sporting Casey, but credit to Montreal for keeping the ball in deep in Sporting's half. Here's Bernier once again. Slips it on the left-hand side. Nayasi goes well past his man. Chance for Nayasi on the edges. Oh no! Just skews wide. Got a deflection on the way through as well. Another corner for Montreal.
Really nice combination play from Montreal, and good job by Niasi. You see the speed he has. It got a nice touch around the defender, found his man, didn't just pound it into the box. He got his head up, found a target, and Arnaud does well to put it on goal to flex out for a corner.
Ball towards the back post. The header from Nestor is there, who is up there this time, interestingly, Jason.
Yeah.
Impact maybe still have the ball.
Maybe they realized he's the biggest guy they have on the field.
Here's Troy Perkins. Of course, joined Montreal from Portland Timbers in a trade with Donovan Ricketts. Nielsen. Fellhaber. Late challenge that from Daviano and his former teammate. Free kick in the way of Sporting KC. Daviano getting involved in it, and I have to say, Jason, not surprised.
No, he's a feisty player. Got taken down hard by Bobby Convey earlier. Little payback. Wrong left-sided player, but he's going to send the message that he's not going to take that from anyone. Sinovic, though, on the wrong end of that one.
So Beasley will get us underway once again here. 1-0 to Sporting KC. 27 minutes gone here in Orlando, Florida. Long ball over the top. Ball bounces away from the combination of Valentin and Sinovic. Valentin looking for an option. Matteo Ferrari. Nayasi. Assume camera. Ferrari again for the Impact. He can push forward down the left-hand side. Nayasi, just a shade offside. He shows his frustration by smashing the ball away. A few Sporting players unhappy with that.
Nice play by Iapicino, showing what he can do out there as a left back, pushing forward. A little miscommunication with Niasi, who was maybe a little lazy holding his line.
Marco Schillebom on the edge of his technical area for Montreal Impact, right in front of us. Jason, you said a word or two to say. What did you make of the appointment when you first heard of it?
It's nice to get to know him, I guess.
Absolutely,
I'll say that.
absolutely.
It was interesting, an interesting decision. You have a lot of guys to pick from, but when you look at what the Impact are doing and who they have on their team, who they're marketing to, he's a guy who fits the bill and knows what he's doing, knows what to do with these players, and as long as he has the respect.
Zusi trying to slip it through. Over to the right-hand side now, it's Feilhaber. And to be fair to the Montreal Impact, they did ever so well to deal with that under pressure.
They need a guy who can come in and earn the respect from players who have, played in Serie A. And you look at Nesta and DeVio. And, I mean, by the way that they've been playing so far, it looks like he's putting together a squad that has some talent. I think the questions with them are the depth. Do they have multiple guys at each position who can compete week in and week out? Or are you going to rely on Nesta the entire season and need to get 30 games out of him in order to make the playoffs? So, Felipe the same. We know Felipe's a phenomenal player. Is he going to be out there game in and game out for them, or do they have a guy who can spell him from time to time? So, so far so good, I guess. They're down 1-0 in an early preseason game, but I think they're building on what they were able to put together last year, which was good for an expansion team.
Indeed, this is, of course, Montreal's first game of their pre-season. Sporting KC already played several games in Tucson, Arizona, of course. The thing I noticed more than anything, Jason, was when he was appointed, the argument, and it is quite an easy argument to have, is that he has no MLS experience. But does it matter?
Yes. Yes, sometimes. So as long as you have the right people around an international coach. We've seen international coaches come in and, people will point to no MLS, international coaches won MLS Cup. It's going to take time for that guy. You can't bring in an international coach and say, win now. You have to bring in an international coach and say, all right, we're going to give you a year, 2 years, 3 years to build something and really get it going. And as long as you're patient, I think you're okay. But you have to have guys around them who understand the intricacies of MLS. It's not easy to build and keep an MLS roster. And if you're not going to bring someone in from Europe who can just come in and do it right away. So you're going to have help around him. And he does. He does have experienced guys on his staff.
I have the feeling many LA Galaxy fans are fearing the name Ruud Gullit. Ball played forward. Alessandro Nesta dealing well with Biela. Now it's a chance for Bobby Convey. Low ball played in. Connection was made by Nagamura, but it was well saved at the near post by Troy Perkins. A real chance there for Sporting.
Just on that last point that you made, looking at Ruud Gullit and Bruce Arena, it shows you the difference of what you can do when you really know and understand the rules and the American player, as opposed to Gullit, who had just as much freedom to spend money and do what he wanted to do in that, and had a younger Beckham at that. But when Arena came in, he knew what he was doing, and it really showed.
Excellent work from Nagamura in the midfield then. I'm sure you heard Peter Vermees voicing his opinions and just how happy he was with his midfielder there. Here's Colin. Zusi away from Nayasi. Colin inside to Rosell. Sporting do open the play, much to the request of Peter Vermees. Sinovic. Just dink it through for the overlapping run of Bobby Convey.
That's it, Pete. That's a good ball right there. Colin!
Rosell with space in the middle. Excellent ball to the right-hand side. Meshak. Teo Ferrari doing his duties. His due diligence. Pass from Phil Harbour is a loose one. I know the idea was there. Bobby Convey given much more of a free role than many would have expected so far. Given plenty of license to roam around the front three.
Slide, hey, Mostro, vamos. Conexión.
DeVio.
Peter Vermees throwing out some Espanol above us to Bieler.
Here comes Nagamura. Phil Harbour doing well to keep possession for Kansas City. Zusi. Really dominating spell here from Sporting in terms of possession.
It's really been an ebb and a flow to this. Started with Kansas City, came to Montreal, now it's back to Kansas City.
Rosell in the centre circle. Beasler. Zusi is lurking on the edge.
Seth, you hit it, Seth. Seth, don't just float it in there. Nice, we go, son.
Meshak with a pass inside, and the Impact now have possession, albeit momentarily.
Peter Vermees calling out to Seth Sinovic, you don't need to send it in there. You don't need to cross the ball if there's no one there. Pull it back out, hold possession.
Coming, Bobby, coming.
Beasler. It's a dangerous ball back. Chance for DeVio. Goes round his man. Tumbled to the ground. Looking for a free kick. Looking for any sort of decision from the referee. Whether it was inside the box or not, that's the question. But either way, the decision not gone in the way of Montreal Impact.
You want to see DeVio maybe try to fight through it, but I think he lost his balance and tried to draw the foul. And if he went down right away, he might have had it. But the fact that he tried to fight through it and then kind of gave himself up, I don't think the referee was buying it.
Nagamura, real chance here for Sporting. Sinovic, low ball across the face of goal. There's Biela involved just on the edge of the 6-yard box. That's what he's been brought into Sporting to do, Jason.
Yeah, great run, put himself in the right spot to get on the end of it. Just the ball skipped up last second on him. But great passing. I mean, that's what you expect from Kansas City. That's the attack and the way that they can move the ball quickly, get it out wide, pop it into the middle.
It was a ball through, wasn't it, from the midfield. Nagamura setting things off, and the ball from the left-hand side, and Claudio Biela just with the outside of his right boot, ball spinning over the bar. Throwing to Kansas City. Peter Vermees calling for movement from his players there. Nesta getting the better of Biela. Excellent touch from Nagamura. Zeus is the option. Here is the American international. Zusi. And now Rosell. Convey with work to do here. Sporting keep possession. Lovely ball from Zusi. Mishak. Sporting were perhaps famous last year for their dynamic style of soccer and their fast-paced style of soccer, but also their patience as well. Nice to see not much has changed for Sporting Casey, still very patient with their build-up play. Biela. Bernier. They ask you with a pass towards the back line. The Impact have been patient themselves as well. They've managed to carve out one or two decent opportunities.
Here's the pressure from Kansas City. Stepped up a little bit.
Here's DeVio. Touch lets down the Italian legend, much to the frustrations of Daviano. Here's Rosell. Now Beasler. And Sinovic, who of course scored the last goal of Sporting KC season in that playoff defeat to Houston Dynamo. Lovely back heel from DeVio. It ended up into the path of Sporting KC. Again, the ideas are there for Montreal Impact, but the execution not quite right yet.
That combination of DeVio and Felipe running underneath him and you know, off of him is going to be dangerous all year. The longer they play together, the more comfortable they get. They're going to be a handful for MLS opponents.
Rosell. Camero doomed to a fail Harbour. Kick in the ribs, that'll hurt in the morning. Now what can Sporting do from here? Aurelian Collin pushes forward. That would suggest they're going to play this one long.
The sun in the eyes of goalkeeper Troy Perkins. You can see him kind of shading his eyes here and there. Wonder if Zusi doesn't have his sights set on goal here. It would be very ambitious, but it's similar to what he did in Dallas.
Absolutely. What a goal that was.
Looks like more likely to be a service.
Here we go then. The header is met. It was Matt Beasler. The flag was raised anyway. Decent opportunity again for Sporting KC, carving something out of nothing. Perkins once again for the Impact. Camera instantly charged down by two Sporting bodies. The pressure had its effect. Here's Zusi. Balling from the right-hand side towards the head of Biela, just over the head of the Ecuadorian though. Valentine just told to get rid of it. Didn't get the distance though. Throwing to Kansas City. Seth Stanovic now with a throw for Sporting. Just over 5 minutes left of the first half here. Sporting KC leading Montreal Impact by 1-0 thanks to Graham Zusi's first goal of the pre-season. Rosell. Here is the Spaniard once again. Peter Lemieux telling Seth Stanovic to stay out wide. There's no need to drift inside. Camera evades the challenge of Biela. Felipe dazzled many an MLS defence last season, didn't he? Here is the Brazilian once again. Bernier.
I think the more you call Bernier and Felipe, the more you call their names in this game, the better things are going for Montreal, and we haven't heard nearly enough of them so far.
Ferrari. It's a strong challenge that from Meshack. That'll be a free kick. Correctly awarded in the way of Montreal Impact. And now what can they do from this set piece? Again, Nesta decides to stay back. They take it quickly here. Arnaud went down under pressure. Nothing given again. A waste of an opportunity there for Montreal. Rosell. Patience pays off for Rosell.
Great ball.
Zusi. Getting the better of his man. Cross towards the back post. Beasler ahead of DeVio. Arnaud away from Beasler. Lovely flash of technique from the MLS veteran. This is Felipe now. Still Felipe for Montreal Impact. A real chance to open Sporting up. Cannons off the retreating Yuri Rosell. A corner ball for Montreal.
It's what we talked about. You want Felipe on the ball. You want him to be able to create. Beasler did just enough to slow him down, let the other Kansas City guys get back and defend. But they are in a corner.
Bernier with a short corner, surprisingly. Felipe. And Montreal get the same outcome there. Another corner and a second chance. One would imagine they'd play this one long. Bernier towards the front post. It was met by Valentine. Got a nick off somebody. Ferrari was involved in there as well. And another chance goes away for Montreal.
We mentioned it last time. Nesta was up, was back on the first, up on the second, back on this one again. I think that's something interesting to follow. Is he going to be one of their targets on those plays? I mean, that was more of a set play where they looked to Valentine short and Ferrari ended up behind him with the flick.
Jimmy Nielsen. Long ball forward, asking a lot. Well won by Arnaud. Nagamura. And again, Matt Beasler. Nielsen. Jimmy Nielsen making the clearance required. Davy Arnaud. Felipe. Marco DeVio tries the effort. And he goes over the bar in the end. The idea was there once again, Jason, but the execution not quite there yet for Montreal.
Yeah, I want to give Davy Arnaud a lot of credit for that. His diving header to intercept the ball not only breaks up the play, but he finds his man with the header, and they're able to turn it around, turn it into a chance for DeVio, who got under the ball in the end. But great job by Davy Arnaud to start that play.
So the free kick in the way to the Impact. Just a few minutes remaining here in the first half. Can't imagine we'd see too much stoppage time. Camera. Now this is Alessandro Nesta. Bernier, given away cheaply, but he wins it back. Fair play to him. Lovely flick from Arnaud again. The idea was right. Valentin. Bernier. Away from Feilhaber. Sinovic wins it back though. No foul. Players almost starting to wind down here. That's a poor pass, and perhaps De Vaya can take advantage of it. It's Marco De Vaya for the Impact! Right on half-time. Montreal Impact punish Kansas City. Victims of their own downfall. And De Vaya makes it 1-1.
And what a pass that was by Patrice Bernier to spring him out of the midfield. The entire Impact team just all going up to Bernier and congratulating him for the pass that broke DeVio through the defense. Classy finish. We expect DeVio to be able to finish in front of the goal, but again, we talked about it. Felipe and Bernier, the key guys in the midfield, they did that. There was no stoppage time, so that they were about to call for halftime. You got to give the Impact credit taking advantage of that last-ditch effort.
It just proves if you have a number 9 in your team, they take their chances. That does it then. Half-time here. 1-1 between Montreal Impact and Sporting Kansas City. Jason Sagini, your thoughts on the first half?
I think we saw a lot of good things from both teams. Like I said, there was an ebb and a flow. Kansas City had the early edge, then it kind of went to Montreal for a little while, back to Kansas City. Getting Graham Zusi back on the field for Sporting Kansas City, you saw what he can do. I think it's going to take the course of the preseason and probably this tournament down here to figure out who the best 11 for Kansas City are. I think you know most of it, but that mix up front, Sapong, Zusi, Bieler, Convey, who's going to be out there, and then right behind them with Feilhaber in the midfield or Zusi, etc. So we're looking for that. I'm looking to see what happens with this Kansas City lineup. And as far as Montreal goes, we mentioned it. Their guys, their key guys, Felipe, Patrice Bernier, and of course DeVio up top. They all kind of come through late in the half to tie the game.
We'll take a short break then. Half-time, Montreal Impact 1, Sporting KC 1. We'll see you shortly. back then to the Walt Disney World Pro Soccer Classic and the second half of Montreal Impact against Sporting Kansas City, 1-1 in the first half. Goals, of course, from Graham Zusi and Marco Di Vaio. We're expecting substitutions. We can't see anything at the moment, although Evan Bush is ready for Montreal Impact. You'd expect to see him at some stage. We'll wait and see what does happen. But the goals coming thick and fast for the two teams. It was a fantastic strike, this from Graham Zusi.
I mean, nobody hits a ball like Graham Zusi hits a ball. We've seen him do it time and time again from distance. His goal, though, answered late in the half by designated player Marco Di Vaio, the forward for the Montreal Impact, coolly finishing on what was a fantastic pass by Patrice Bernier.
The goals coming very, very quickly from those two players, of course, in terms of the passes they received from midfield. Effective. And, of course, it now means that we are tied at 1-1 in this game. As we said, substitutions are imminent. We shall find out as soon as we can who's coming on and who's going off. But at the moment, Sporting look unchanged. Montreal Impact just coming out of the tunnel now, and it does look again, at the moment they seem unchanged as well, but we'll see and wait what happens. Of course, Ike Opara has come on for Sporting KC. Looks like it's Aurelian Collin who's gone off. Ike Opara on. Aurelian Collin off is the only change that we are aware of at the moment. We'll try and keep you as up to date as we possibly can. An expected change, perhaps, Jason.
Yeah, one of the top off-season acquisitions if you're Peter Vermees. Ike Opara is a player that all the talent in the world, really his issue has been injuries and trying to stay on the field, and Sporting thinks they can take him, they can work him out, keep him on the field, and like we said, they're going to play a lot of games this year, and when they do, they're going to need multiple center backs, guys who can step in, and Ike Opara could be essentially a starter level player who's coming off your bench, and that's fantastic to have if you're a guy like Peter Vermees.
Screams out Champions League to me. That does the signing of Ike Opara. Colin Warner has come on for Montreal Impact. Again, we'll try and find out who he's come on for. Justin Mapp looks like he's coming on as well for the Impact. Two players on the edge of the touchline here, waiting to come on. So the referee are waiting for both sets of coaches and players that aren't involved to get off the pitch. Justin Mapp just coming in under the bottom end of your screens now. Number 21 for Montreal Impact, formerly of Philadelphia Union and Chicago Fire, of course.
Jeb Brovsky as well coming on for the Impact. So more changes for Montreal than Kansas City.
Brovsky, as expected, has come on and fitted straight into the right back role.
So Niasi's player that came off for Mapp.
The second half then underway. Montreal Impact against Sporting KC, 1-1. It is MLS pre-season broadcasting on MLSsoccer.com, live from Orlando, Florida, at the ESPN Wide World of Sports complex. Jimmy Nielsen for Sporting Kansas City. Now this is Rosell. Ike Opara with his first touch of the Walt Disney World Pro Soccer Classic.
So one update on the lineup. Colin Warner came into the midfield. They dropped Kamara back to center back, and it's Nesta who is out.
Which, if we're thinking about it, Jason, isn't really too surprising, really.
No, early preseason game. All these teams, as we've talked to their PR groups, all saying when it comes to the older guys, you know, taking it easy on him. I think we saw more out of Higuain in the first game than we thought we would, but no surprise.
Ball is flicked over to the left-hand side. Now we have a throw-in for Sporting KC. Meshack, the guest trialist from Orlando City, the local side here playing in their USL Pro.
It says something that he's still with Kansas City despite being at his home team's tournament here. So obviously Kansas City likes what they see so far, and he's stayed with the team after the trip to Arizona.
Sporting getting themselves out of a tricky situation there. Opara giving the ball away. Ball fell kindly for Jimmy Nielsen in the end. Here is the Danish stopper. Jerome Mishak. Ball given away in midfield again for Kansas City. Excellently won back though. Felipe going down in a heap of pain.
It's not what you want to see if you're a Montreal Impact fan. A lot of this season is going to ride on that foot of Felipe.
Felipe, of course, scored the opening goal in a 3-1 win for Montreal Impact at Sporting Park last season. Looks to be okay. Little Brazilian, as we said earlier, last year in his first year in Major League Soccer, did his part to dazzle a few backlines in the league. Key player for Montreal Impact. Here's Nagamura. Zusi with a flick on for Biela. Biela, of course, only lasted 30 minutes, against Portland Timbers. Lasted at least the first half and a little bit of the second half here. Cheaply given away there, but it's well won back. A hint of desperate defending there from Ferrari. Map to Brovsky. Former Vancouver Whitecaps defender, of course. Warner. Coach Shiloh, I'm not happy with Colin Warner giving the ball away in midfield.
I was confused for a minute because I thought he was yelling at Aurelian going, like he's not even on the field and he's not on your team. But thanks for clearing that up for me, Cal.
I'll always try my best for you, mate.
It was a bad giveaway, to be fair to the coach.
Here's Rosell. Now this is Sanovic, latching onto a first-time pass from Paulo Nagamura. Poor pass again from the midfield to the back line of Sporting KC. Not the first time we've seen that this afternoon.
Not something Coach Peter Vermees will be happy with. He's moved down for the second half from the perch above us to the bench right next to us. Getting a different look at his squad.
Absolutely. I'm sure you'll still hear his loud vocals anyway. So once again, early apologies if you hear anything you don't want to on MLSsoccer.com. We all know what Peter Vermees was like as a player. He's very similar as a manager as well.
Feisty.
That would be the word I would use. Here's Matt Beasler. And Ike Para. Jerome Mishak. And Nagamura. Lovely first-time pass. Great technique from both the combination of Nagamura and Zusi then. Combination was fantastic. Zusi. Ball just hit off the bottom end of his shin there rather than the inside of his foot. I'm sure that's not the pass Graham Zusi would have wanted.
Great. I mean, tic-tacking around the defense in the midfield by Sporting Kansas City, though. I mean, it's what you want to see this early in the preseason. To be connecting passes like that bodes well for what's to come during the season.
Apara. Mishak. Now this is Yuri Rosell. And Convey. Came to the pre-season this year a lot fitter. Lost 10 pounds, we're told. Really looking forward to his MLS 2013 campaign, we're told as well. It'll be interesting to see how he fits in. Here come the Impact. DeVio. Into frustration from DeVio, dropping that deep perhaps for the Impact.
Just looking to get on the ball. He's frustrated. He hasn't seen enough of the ball. Really not many touches in the first half. Maybe 3-4 times he was touching the ball in the first half other than that goal.
Oh no. Here comes Felipe. Hassoun Camara, once voted the NASL Defender of the Year. Nielsen. Again, Marco Schalabam on the edge of his technical area, dishing out instructions to his Impact players. Impact get a little fortunate with that one. Jerome Machak doing well. Zusi. Lovely ball with the outside of the right foot. That is a fantastic ball.
What a
and
ball.
Although it didn't come off, the vision was first class.
Yeah, I mean, Bieler was probably about a foot away from that and just misjudged it a little. Not to the fault of Graham Zusi at all. Hit that ball perfectly.
Well, Marco DeVaio did get the ball for a moment or two, and the ball goes in the way of Sporting KC. Coach Shillabam not happy with that decision. So the throw will be taken by Jerome Mishak. It's Nagamura, the former Chivas USA and LA Galaxy midfielder. Biesler. Bobby Convey. Looking to find a pass, he'll find one in his former San Jose teammate Apara. Feilhaber slips a lovely ball through. This is Graham Zusi for Sporting. Zusi towards the back post, the ball goes. It was fair to say it was overhit. Not what many of us were expecting from Graham Zusi. Either way, the ball goes out for a throw to the impact on the far side. Warner. There is the former RSL man. The pressure from Graham Zusi, applauded by the head coach Peter Vermees. Felipe against Rosell. Meshach battling as well. Little slap to the head there from Felipe on Jerome Meshach. Referee Petrescu just telling them to both get on with it. No need for a little bit of afters. Signs of frustration from both players and coaches there. No need for that. Here's Matteo Ferrari. Asun Camara. A lofted ball over the top, asking questions of Felipe, dealt with by Biesler. And again, it's Aikapara. Well-angled ball forward from Biesler, wasn't it? Here is Perkins.
Montreal not really able to find any cracks in this Sporting Kansas City defense lately. Sporting swarming to the ball.
There's Arno. At the moment it does look a little bit frustrating for Montreal Impact in the centre of midfield. Long ball forward for DeVaio. Justin Mapp now on the edge of the penalty area. Perhaps knocked off balance there by Rosell, but he still has the ball. Andrew Wenger is going to come on for the impact. Here's Feilhaber. Charged down by Benny Feilhaber and Justin Mapp combining and battling in midfield. You can see Andrew Wenger is coming on for Montreal Impact, of course. Last year's #1 overall pick. Here's Biesler.
See, assume Wenger coming on for DeVaio to play that target man up top.
As we said, he was the #1 overall pick in last year's Super Draft. Low ball played in, dealt with by Apara. And Kansas City will deal with the pressure. Here's Biesler.
Great switch by Biesler, finding Meshach alone on the other side of the field.
Jerome Meshach. Biela. First time pass inside. Convey. Ball in from the left. Poor touch from Colin Warner. I can see you on the sideline. Coach Shillabam not happy with that again from Colin Warner.
I can't tell you how many times he's mumbled his name under his breath so far, so Warner with a lot of work to do to get back in the good graces of his coach. To be fair to Warner, he's kind of playing out of position as a more holding midfielder. He had been in more of an attacking midfielder coming out of college and, playing with Salt Lake, playing more on the outside or in the attacking part of the field. So maybe trying to learn a new position on the job.
3 substitutions coming on for Montreal Impact. We'll get to that in a second. And Sporting push forward. Biela goes down under a challenge. Referee tells him to get to his feet. This is Justin Mapp. Pass is poor, but Mapp will get it back anyway. Perhaps a chance here for Montreal Impact, opening up Kansas City. Arno. Mapp. He thought the run had already gone.
If I'm Marco Di Vaio there, I'm frustrated that Mapp went the other way with the ball. He had equal opportunity to go either side of the field and had Di Vaio by himself, and that is your moneymaker. You need to go to that player, and he had an opportunity to give him the ball, and Di Vaio looked at him thinking, that's my ball. That's, I'm number 9 here. You got to give me that ball.
So all 3 substitutions about to come on then for Montreal Impact. Here's Rosell. Opara. Ball forward. Biela goes down under a challenge, and the decision will go in the way of Montreal Impact, much to the surprise of Biela. Well, then here we have the substitutions then for Montreal Impact. Felipe coming off, Di Vaio coming off. Piacino coming off as well. Brazilian trialist number 93, Ebner, we're told, is coming on. That's an interesting one for Montreal. Watch out for him wearing number 93. Andrew Wenger coming on, as well as Maxime Tissot as well.
We'll see what...
Try and get you some more information on the trialist.
Yeah, we'll see what Eber has to offer here, but there he is on the ball and taking down Fehlhaber, who gets his head up.
Smashed away, wasn't it? Well, by Troy Perkins, who was aware. So we'll try and get you some more information on the Brazilian trialist Eber. For Montreal Impact, as I said, Impact fans, number 93. Watch out for him.
Diminutive midfielder, but we've seen plenty of smaller central midfielders with the creative nature succeed in MLS.
Felipe is a classic example.
I think Felipe might tower over him, though.
Here's Convey. Rosell. It's Zusi against Tissot. And his first interaction of the game is a good one for the Impact as well. He moves into midfield well. Slips it through. Wenger is onside here. Real chance for Montreal Impact. Andrew Wenger with a chance! And Montreal Impact take the lead for the first time in this game. An incisive breakaway. Maxime Tissot, the substitution involved, really well into midfield. He worked himself, slips a ball through, and Andrew Wenger, after coming on only moments ago, makes it 2-1.
Andrew Wenger, newly onto the field, saw him hugging the line of the last line of defense, trying to turn his body and get himself into a good position to receive that ball, which he did very much at the end in a calm, cool finish for Wenger in front of goal.
Now we have the commentator's nightmare here. A whole host of players are coming on for Sporting KC. I can see Nagamura, Mishak, Biela, Convey, Zusi, Fehlhaber. It looks like everybody is coming off.
Full 11, full line change hockey style here. We'll get you updated on who's coming on for Sporting Kansas City.
We can see Eric Kronberg, CJ Sapong, Lawrence Olam, Kyle Miller moves to right back as well. A whole host of players coming on. Christian Duke is there as well, the supplemental pick. So here we go then. A revamped Sporting side with a chance to impress the head coach Peter Vermees. Wenger battling. Here's Warner. Charged down by Duke. There's Soony Saad.
Good to see Soony Saad back on the field after that injury he had in the earlier preseason game. Took a shot to the tailbone. Scary injury to get, but back up there, out on the field for Kansas City. Scored a nice goal in that game, in that tournament out in Arizona, a diving header against FC Tucson.
Does look as if it's a midfield three once again for Sporting KC, with Duke and Peterson Joseph and Lawrence Olam in the midfield. Saad and Saponga are part of the front line. Miller at right back, the supplemental pick as well. Here is Kyle Miller. Tissot, the creator of the second goal for the Impact. Lovely ball across to Wenger once again, wasn't it? Wenger. Trying to go around his man on the far side. Again, Andrew Wenger. It's good defensive work from Sporting KC, and it goes behind for a goal kick.
You see the abilities of Wenger there that made him the first overall pick. And remember, this is a guy who was an All-American center back in college, an All-American forward in college, player of the year at both positions. So, Montreal thinks he's a forward, and you can see there why. He's so good on the ball. He can move past defenders. He has the size to body people as well. And it's really, for Montreal, it's where do you use him, because he's maybe not the right partner for DeVayo. He's more of a replacement for him. So you really, you don't get to have him on the field if you have DeVayo on the field. And for me, that's a bit of an issue for Montreal with two of your best players.
Here's Hassoun Kamara. Ball over the top, which Aikapara will leave for Eric Kronberg. Jan Songo now on the ball. One of the new additionees for Sporting KC. It's Lawrence Olam, formerly of Orlando City, of course. In his third year with Sporting. Ball over the top for Soony Saad, trying to get in between the gap that was there between Ferrari and Kamara. Here's Kamara once again. Sport will ask questions of Songo, who does well to steer it away from Wenger. Daviano now for Montreal Impact. Who themselves are thinking of making another substitution. Ferrari. Tissot. This is Justin Mapp. Bernier. He's forced to retreat back to Troy Perkins. Charged down by the athletic Soony Saad. Here's Kamara. Patrice Bernier. Smashed away by Songo. Excellently won by Bernier. Arno. 0-1, and the side can push themselves forward here. Here's CJ Sapong. Pace died down a little over the last few minutes or so. But sets of substitutions giving themselves time to get into the game, of course. Sporting with basically a whole new 11 now. 10 substitutions not a couple of minutes ago. And we start again here through Sporting KC. Troy Perkins then, the former DC United goalkeeper, in for Hassoun Camara. Well challenged inside. Hassoun Camara with the ball over the top. It was ambitious, wasn't it?
Coach Schellenbaum showing his hands there. Quick reactions.
Andre Pisanu coming on.
Pisanu, the off-season acquisition, one of the more heralded off-season acquisitions for this Montreal Impact team. Expect to make an impact. Oh, I hate doing that. I knew I would do it at some point.
I didn't want to say anything,
and
but
I was
yes.
trying not to. I didn't mean to do that, but I mean, he is going to be an important player for them this season. We'll see what he can offer here, coming on for Davy Arnaud out on the right side.
Established career in Italy. I was told it was Alessandro Nesta who actually told him to come and join Montreal Impact. Davy Arnaud comes off then for Montreal. Andre Pisanu comes on then. What impacts will he have on this game?
Definitely a player to watch is Pisanu. See if he can work his way into the starting lineup for his Montreal Impact team by the time the season begins.
Apara. Jan Songo. Songo forced to retreat to Eric Kronberg. Calm and collective pass from the veteran goalkeeper. Strange calling somebody a veteran goalkeeper when they haven't had much playing time in Major League Soccer, but he has been around the league for some time now.
Stuck behind one of the best, as we talked about, one of the best goalkeepers in MLS. You got to bide your time and, you know, make the most of your U.S. Open Cup opportunities and potentially Champions League opportunities.
Here's Songo once again. Kronberg. Well, if the ball was for Kyle Miller, it was a decent ball. Just skipped away from the youngster. Tissot will now take charge of the situation for the Impact. Wenger. Combination of Apara and Miller doing their due diligence there for Sporting. Songo to the left-hand side. Duke. Throwing in the way of Sporting KC. Here is Duke once again. This is the player who trained with Sporting KC's academy but went off to college, so he couldn't be signed as a homegrown player. Taken in the supplemental draft instead. Stretch from Sapong, unable to find the ball. Tissot once again for the Impact. Well, Jason, we've had a few questions on Twitter, and while the ball is deep inside the Impact's half as it makes its way to the halfway line, somebody has asked who we think has the best chance of winning MLS Cup this year. If you had to choose now, who would you go for? I know it's a tough one.
Whew, man. It's early. I really like the team that Sporting Kansas City has put together. I think the one thing that maybe, you know, goes against them is the fact that they're going to have Champions League starting later in the season. They're going to be playing a lot of games, but I do like the depth they have. I like the different looks that they can offer. You know, I'm not sure if Kai Kamara is going to be back, but if he does come back, obviously that bodes well. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to go through all the teams in my head, and there's certainly other teams that are going to compete. I think, you know, despite losing Freddie Montero, I think Seattle still has a very strong team. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year they brought in another attacker to take his place. I mean, the Galaxy, you can't count the Galaxy out. They didn't get much worse. I know they lost Beckham, but they have plenty of good players in there. We don't know if they're going to end up signing another designated player in the midfield, but I can tell you that Giassi Zardis, the forward that they brought in as a homegrown player, is probably the top player in college soccer. So
I've heard a lot of good things about him.
The rich get richer, so to speak. So, I mean, those teams certainly competing for it. Injuries always play a part, and, you know, one key guy goes down for a team. If you don't have the right guy behind him, it's gonna really hurt you going forward.
So another trialist, it seems, coming on for Montreal Impact. Unfortunately, we don't have the information. We'll get that to you as soon as we can. Patrice Bernier has gone off. Here's Wenger. That is the one unfortunate thing about these pre-season games, is that unfortunately the commentators are given very little information.
Right.
Which is quite right as well, because I was talking to the press officer of Sporting earlier on, Kurt Austin, and he made the good point that if they're not on the discovery list, then why would you let anybody know you had them on trial?
Yeah. Went through that in the preseason last year with the Philadelphia Union, naming 3 or 4 of their guys Trialist 1, Trialist 2, and Trialist 3, and fans started trying to figure out who they were.
It happens. Here's Kyle Miller. Sapong, 9 goals last year in Major League Soccer, a handsome return for him in his second year. Olin with the ball over the top, Peter Vermees, as soon as that ball came up, rose to his feet, not happy with the execution.
One of the things I'm watching is the impact CJ Sapong can make from this right side. Not a position he played a lot of last year, obviously because Kai Kamara was there. He played up top as the target guy. He played out left on the wing a little bit, and he's capable of playing them all. I mean, he was basically an attacking midfielder in college, here, we're going to give you the ball and you do everything type of guy. So he's capable of it, but it's still a little new from him combining and coming from this side, cutting in on his left foot, all that stuff. Keep an eye on that as we move forward for the season, because if Kai Kamara is not here, CJ is going to have a big season out there.
Here is Justin Mapp. We'll get onto the subject of Kai Kamara in a few minutes as well, Jason. I'm interested to hear your opinions on that one. Ferrari makes the clearance. That'll be a throw into Sporting KC. They have a chance to perhaps push the Impacts back in towards deep inside their own half. Peterson Joseph, the Haiti international. Not the first Haiti international on the pitch for Sporting this afternoon. Of course, Jerome Mechak is also a Haiti international. Gone off now, of course. Jan Songo. Apara. And now Miller. Songo confidently pushing forward here. Sporting push forward. Real chance on the left-hand side. It's blocked. Many fans calling for handball. Referee not interested. We're told the number 55 coming on for Montreal Impact is a U21 academy player, Wandriel Lefebvre. Perhaps a chance for him now to impress the head coach. Chance for Saad, who's offside. Ball did hit the back of the net, but it's offside.
As you were talking about him, CJ Sapong split his legs with a pass and just offside for Sporting Kansas City, unable to finish the play.
We were talking a little earlier on, Jason, about Kai Kamara leaving Sporting KC, and for those Sporting fans back in Kansas City, I'm sure you're all aware, he did actually make his Premier League debut today for Norwich City, getting 15 minutes. Can you see him getting much time in the EPL?
Yes. I mean, I don't think they would go out. I don't think they would go out and sign this deal if he was going to sit on the bench the entire time. I think he's a player who offers some things. Athletically, he can hold the ball. He can get up and down the wing, and we've seen it before. So, if he went to Chelsea, would he get on the field? No. But I think at Norwich, he's going to see the field, and he's going to have a chance to make an impact for them.
The challengers were flying in for a moment or two there, weren't they? Sapong, one of many players going to ground. Peterson Joseph. Touch from Olam is Paul, but he gets away with it. Here's Duke. Songo. Josh Gardner, playing against his former club, of course. Perkins. Now Tivert. Ebert. The Brazilian trialist for the Impact. Justin Mapp. The option surge forward. Ebert. Challenge made. Warner. Here's Matteo Ferrari. He was the U21 Academy player. Lefebvre. Ebert. Ball slipped through. Offside is the verdict.
Really good look by Ebert there. Saw him kind of put his head up and then look away to distract the defenders, but that extra second had the attacker leaning forward a little too much, and Tissot was offside on the play.
Duke. Now this is Ike Para. Miller. Just over 10 minutes remaining here. Montreal Impact leading Sporting KC by 2-1. Perhaps a chance here though. Gardner having a go. Ball in his paw though. And that goes behind for a goal kick to Montreal Impact.
Peter Vermees still frustrated with that pass back to the goalkeeper that Troy Perkins picked up, threw it out to his fullback, and pretty sure it was a pass back from the right back, and Peter's really giving a go to the two fourth official and the linesman over here.
Sunnisar charging down, although Peter Vermees left frustrated with Sunnisar, telling him to pick somebody to mark. Long ball over the top into the arms of Kronberg. Sunnisar receiving a real earful from Peter Vermees.
I'm sure the referees are happy that it's not them anymore, the assistant and the fourth official.
Aikapara. Referee opting to stop the play. Andrew Wenger down on the ground, although he is back on his feet now. Marco Chalobah having a thing or two to say as well with the fourth official. Andrew Wenger going off, for the time being at least. Looks as if Callum Malish is getting ready to come on. A draft pick from last year's draft. Wenger's off the field at the moment. Get some information for you in a second. In the meantime, here's Christian Duke. Gardner. Para. Lawrence Olam. And now it's CJ Sapong. Well dealt with by Justin Mapp, and now the Impact can push themselves forward here. Bit of energy about them. Lefebvre. Eber. Tifut pushes forward. Again a chance for the Impact here. Ball played in, And Eber with a low drive, and it's into the arms of Erik Kronberg. Perhaps a chance there for the Brazilian to impress.
Unfortunately for the Montreal Impact, Wenger being off the field meant they had 0 forwards up there in the box. So less options for Montreal Impact going forward. Eber had no one to give it to, and his shot was weakly hit at net. Callum Mallis about to check on, though, for Wenger.
So Callum Mallis comes on then for Montreal Impact. Andrew Wenger has gone off. And rather worryingly for him, and Montreal is lying on the treatment table to our left. Joseph. And Jan Songo. Nagapara. Kyle Miller pushing forward for Sporting KC as they search for the equaliser. Colin Warner's been much more sturdier in midfield since he had that earful from the head coach. Here he is. Although we did have a bit of a laugh with Mr. Joey Saputo earlier on. Standing above us at the time, the owner of Montreal Impact. I jokingly asked when he was going to bring Kaká to MLS. He did nothing but smile.
No comment.
Benge with the pass there. Of course, another player in midfield for Sporting KC, wearing number 23, who's a guest trialist from Orlando City. 19 years old, from Senegal. Here he is again. Suni Saad goes down under a challenge. Referee is not interested. Map. Hassan Kamara smashing away. Easily passed back. And now Sporting have several options as they push themselves forward. Peterson Joseph, the Haiti international. Long ball over the top, asking a lot of Benge. Troy Perkins to start again for Montreal Impact. A long ball forward. Little surprised we haven't seen maybe Evan Bush come on for Montreal Impact. They've stuck with Perkins for the time being.
Ferrari also a guy who's getting a full 90 minutes here.
Perhaps even in pre-season, Jason, an indication of just how important they're viewed.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, Kamara, remember, started the game at center back. He's moved into the midfield. I'm sorry, the other way around. Started in the midfield. He's moved into center back. He's played the entire game as well.
Peterson Joseph standing his ground but losing it. His bacon was saved then by Ikapara. Could be something here for Montreal Impact as they look for a third goal. And you'd imagine if they did get that third goal, that would kill the game off. It's Justin Mapp. Throwing in the way of Sporting. Mr. Shalabam again, not happy with that decision. The Impact with a chance though. Usanu through to Eber. He was offside. That's the verdict from the linesman on the far side. Usanu's real first interaction of the game there. Eber's been lively since he's come on though. Kronberg again for Sporting. 4 minutes left, plus any additional time we may have. Here's Sapong. Ball over for Kyle Miller. Unable to keep the ball in play. It was unfortunate.
See Sporting pressing up now, trying to keep Montreal back in this end, force a turnover and get something at goal. And there it is.
Ferrari putting his right boot through that just to get it away. Eric Kronberg for Sporting Kansas City. Bengay. Josh Gardner. Long ball over the top. Bengay with a good first touch. He couldn't get around his man though. He'll get a second chance here though. Referee allows play to continue. Bengay. Ball deflects and goes behind for a corner. Perhaps the last chance for Sporting KC.
It's a good ball across the field by Iko Para. He wasn't happy with his teammate's first touch, but they got it back and earned a corner out of it.
87.5 minutes on the clock. Suni Saad races over to take the corner. The options are there again for Sporting KC. Plenty of height in there. Saad. Matteo Ferrari taking charge at the back. Duke. Decent ball in from the left-hand side, isn't it? And the header is downwards. What a save that is from Troy Perkins. Well, Sporting Kansas City thought for a brief second they had that equaliser. What a save.
See the athleticism from Mike Opara jumping over the defender, but Troy Perkins matches it, getting down to deny the header.
Suni Saad towards the back post again. It's again Troy Perkins on hand.
Perkins hasn't gotten a lot of work in this second half, but he's made the most of the last two chances he's had to shine.
Kyle Miller for Sporting. Given away. Niebuhr miscues. Perhaps may lead Sporting to another chance. Haven't got much time here. Here's Gardner. Pass is poor, and now perhaps Montreal can seal the victory here. Eber rushing through. Chance for the trialist. Eric Kronberg comes forward well. Smashes it forward. Now Sunkama rising well as well above Suni Saad. Suni Saad taken down by Callum Malice. No free kick. The Kansas City coaching staff left frustrated. We've had quite the showing from the coaches this afternoon, haven't we?
I was just thinking the same thing. They are two animated, passionate coaches, and they're giving it their all out there.
Well, there we go. Yellow card and a free kick for Sporting KC. Peter Vermees, Kerry Zavagnan and the rest of the coaching staff clearly let the referee know what they felt like, as does Marco Schalabam. 3 minutes of added time, we're told. But again, you'd imagine this would be one of, if not the last chance for Sporting KC. Suni Saad. Delightful in-swinging ball dealt with by Hassan Kamara. Duke. Towards the back post, lovely ball. Saad across the face of goal now. The heads go up, dealt with by Montreal. Sporting still with the ball though. Duke. Inside, the pass was poor. Kyle Miller unable to capitalise. And now again, a chance, end-to-end stuff here at the Pro Soccer Classic. 2 against 2. Mapped towards the back post. Kronberg doing so well to come and claim the ball. Excellent goalkeeping from Eric Kronberg.
Pisanu almost with a chance to put an exclamation point on his debut for the impact. Ball
Duke.
just not getting there, and give Kronberg credit for snuffing that out.
Opara. This is Kyle Miller for Sporting. The long ball over the top is a delightful one as well from Peterson Joseph. Ball in from the left-hand side from Gardner is hanging. Asked a lot of questions. The ball just ricochets off Suni Saad, and that'll be a goal kick to Montreal. Into the second minute of the 3 additional minutes added on. Still Montreal 2, Sporting KC 1. Goals from Marco De Vaio and Andrew Wenger for the impact, and Graham Zusi of course opened the scoring in the first half for Sporting. Para rising above Malice. Throwing goes in the way of Montreal Impact. Tiffert. Eber. Nothing given by the referee. Montreal wanted a free kick. Decision goes in the way of Montreal once again, as they threaten to get a third here. Eber. Taken down. And again, the decision goes in the way of Montreal Impact. To the final minute of added time. Montreal Impact will be in no rush to take this. Justin Mapp standing over the ball, as well as Andre Pisanu.
You can see Kronberg fighting the sun. It's right above this, where this free kick is coming from.
Pisanu will just take the ball into the corner. Eber trying to go around his man. It's decent defending from Jan Songo. Now this is Gardner. Gardner looking for a pass. Ball over the top. Benny in on goal here. Smashed away by Hassoun Kamara. Been a rock at the back for Montreal this afternoon. There's Malice. Dealt with by Miller. And now Sporting have another chance, a genuine chance again down the right-hand side. Saad, low ball played across the face of goal, and it's straight at the goalkeeper, Troy Perkins. You get the feeling, Jason Zagini, either side of Troy Perkins, and that's an equaliser.
Oh, I mean, a phenomenal opportunity for Sporting Kansas City there. We can hear the Montreal coach screaming for the whistle, though. There's supposed to be 3 minutes of stoppage time, and we went a little longer than that. But he's got to be happy, though, with his team getting a 2-1 victory and both of his center forwards scoring goals.
Well, final score here then, it's a defeat for Sporting KC, a first win at the first time of asking in the pre-season for Montreal Impact. They've beaten Sporting KC by 2-1. Graham Zusi, of course, opened the scoring in the first half, and then Marco Di Vaio managed to find a gap in the back line of Sporting KC right on the stroke of half-time, and Andrew Wenger in the second half gave Montreal Impact a 2-1 win over Sporting Kansas City. Don't forget, next on MLSsoccer.com, it is Orlando City of USL Pro against Philadelphia Union. That's at 6 o'clock. Myself and Corey Gibbs will have your call. We'll see you all at 6 o'clock. From us, it's bye for now. Final score, Montreal 2, Sporting 1.